When you think about the key to a long, healthy life, what's the first thing that pops into your head? Probably your heart, right? I mean, that's what we've all been told forever. But what if the science is pointing to something else entirely? What if the single most critical organ that determines not just how long you live, but how well you live, is actually your muscle?
Yeah, that one idea, it's a total game changer. It really forces us to just throw out everything we thought we knew about fitness and getting older. We're not talking about looking good on the beach or your athletic performance anymore. We're talking about the very foundation, the biological bedrock of a long, awesome life.
For decades, we've kind of treated muscle like an accessory, something you build just for looks. But this huge wave of new research, a lot of it brought to light by longevity experts like Dr. Peter Attia, is showing us that muscle is a critical, functional organ. In fact, it might just be the most powerful weapon we have in the fight against the diseases of aging.
All right, so let's dive into the science here. It's time to look past the bicep curls and really get what's going on under the hood to understand muscle's deep, hidden role in our health.
This brings us to a really cool concept called the metabolic sink. Think of it this way. You eat some carbs, they turn into glucose. That's blood sugar. Now your body has to put that sugar somewhere safe. And guess what? Your muscle is its #1 top choice destination, by a long shot. And this chart just makes it so clear. A whopping 80% of the glucose from the food you just ate gets soaked up and stored by your skeletal muscle. It's like a giant sponge for blood sugar, constantly working behind the scenes to keep your whole system in balance.
But, and there's always a but, right? Here's the problem we all face: sarcopenia. It's just a fancy word for the muscle we naturally lose as we get older. And this isn't just about feeling a little weaker. It means your metabolic sink is literally shrinking. Your body is losing its best tool for handling blood sugar.
So what happens when that sink gets too small? Well, all that extra sugar has nowhere to go. It just floods your system, leading to big problems like insulin resistance and inflammation. And that right there creates the perfect storm for what Dr. Attia calls the Four Horsemen. These are the major chronic diseases that unfortunately end most of our lives way too early.
But wait, there's more. Muscle isn't just a storage tank, it's an active organ. When you use your muscles, they release these incredible anti-inflammatory molecules called myokines. Seriously, think of it like a pharmacy inside your own body. These little guys travel everywhere, fighting inflammation, even making your brain healthier. It's your personal built-in defense against what some scientists call inflammaging. How cool is that?
Okay, so we've established muscle mass is absolutely critical. But it turns out there's another measurement, one that's about your body's performance, that is an even more powerful crystal ball for your lifespan. And trust me, it has nothing to do with how much you can bench press.
And that metric is your VO2 Max. The easiest way to think about it is like the horsepower of your body's engine. It measures how well your heart, your lungs, and your muscles all work together to use oxygen when you're pushing yourself. And the data on this it's shockingly clear. Your VO2 Max is the single most powerful predictor we have for how long you're going to live. Period.
Just how powerful is it? Well, check this out. Having a low VO2 max, we're talking being in the bottom quarter of the population for fitness, is a bigger risk for dying early than smoking. Let that sink in. It's riskier than smoking, riskier than having type 2 diabetes, even riskier than having diagnosed heart disease. That's just wild.
This chart really paints the picture, doesn't it? It shows your risk of dying from anything just based on your fitness level. And the difference between someone in that bottom 25% and someone who is elite in the top 2.5%, it's not a gap, it's a canyon.
So just how wide is that canyon? Well, it adds up to a 500% lower risk of dying. That's a 5-fold survival advantage. To put that into perspective, there isn't a single pill or medical procedure on the planet that can give you that kind of benefit. That is the power of building your aerobic engine.
Okay, so the science is loud and clear. We need a big metabolic sink and a high horsepower engine. So what's the plan? How do we actually do it? Well, this leads us to a really brilliant way to think about it. Training for the Centenarian Decathlon.
This quote just nails the whole mindset shift. Look, the goal isn't to run a marathon next year. The real goal is to be a totally capable, independent, vibrant person in the last decade of your life. You're putting in the work today so that when you're 90, you can still play with your great-grandkids, haul your own luggage into the overhead bin, and get up off the floor without thinking twice.
So what does this training actually look like? It's really about 3 core pillars. First, you gotta fuel the machine with enough protein. That's the building block for muscle. Second, you build that engine with about 3 hours of what's called Zone 2 cardio a week. That's just steady activity. like a brisk walk or a bike ride, where you can still talk, but you're kind of breathy. And third, you have to lift heavy things. Focus on movements that build real-world strength and keep your bones strong.
All right, let's bring this all home. We've talked about the why and the how. But the most important thing to grasp is that what you do today is literally building the person you are going to be decades from now.
So if there's one thing you take away from this, let it be this. The body you have when you're 80 is a direct result of the work you're putting in now, at 40 or 50. Building muscle isn't about vanity. It's about investing in your biological 401k. It's your health savings account. It's the best insurance policy you can buy against the diseases that steal our later years from us.
So I'm going to leave you with this final question. Just take a second and really picture the last decade of your life. What do you want to be able to do? Carry your groceries in one trip? Go on a hike with your family? Get on a plane by yourself? Whatever is on that list of activities, that is your personal Centenarian Decathlon. And the training for it, it starts today.